Hi, I'm TheBruSho, and this is TheBruSho. Recently I took a Pacific Northwest road trip, and along the way I stopped at a ton of great breweries. So today I thought I'd share with you my brewery travel guide, as well as some amazing sights. This was a trip my wife and I had been dying to take, so we planned a route to hit up some iconic West Coast breweries. This is by no means the ultimate list of the best breweries of the Pacific Northwest. There's too many to try in one trip, but I'll also try and share some of the ones that were recommended to me by some of you. Hopefully this video inspires you to get out there and explore for yourself. So with a plan in mind, we hit the road from LA and headed north. And our first stop was a bucket list brewery for me to visit. Located in Santa Rosa, California is Russian River Brewing Company. Since 1997, Russian River has been brewing amazing beers, but probably most notably known for one of the first commercially produced double IPAs, aka Pliny the Elder. And of course I had to try some fresh on tap. Outside of Pliny, they have a ton of fantastic beers, especially now in the fall. There's so many fresh hop ales to try. I also grabbed a few extra cans to go, including Hop Time Harvest Ale, Hop To It Single Hop Ale with Triumph, and Row 2 Hill 56, a Simcoe Ale. Each one as good as the last. They can really do an IPA like no other. While the brewery itself is smaller than I expected, it has a small town charm, and it's definitely one you won't want to miss if you're in the area. From Santa Rosa, it was a short drive up to Chico, California, home of the famed Sierra Nevada. And wow, this place was like Wonkaland, but with the smell of sweet wort in the air instead of chocolate. The size and attention of detail was something to behold. Inside was beautifully decorated with copper accents that matched the copper mash tuns that can be seen from the tasting room and the restaurant. And like at Russian River, I had to try Sierra Nevada's most famous beer, fresh on tap, the classic Pale Ale. This beer has never tasted as good as it did in this moment. But I also tried their Wet Hop Ale, which was bursting with piney and fruity hop character. You're going to see in a bit, this is kind of a trend of the trip with the fresh hop ales. But when you're in hop country, just after hop harvest, there really is no better time to try them out. The fresh hop flavor is really so good, and it's not something you can ever get from a can in a store. And especially considering they have hop fields right next to the parking lot, you know it's going to be fresh. Before leaving, I grabbed some hard kombuchas since they make strange beast. And then we hit the road. As we continue north, the colors of fall really came to life. We took a quick pit stop at Mount Shasta, right outside of Weed, California. We hiked around the lake and stretched out our legs. And of course, we had to get a quick shot in front of the weed sign before continuing on into Oregon. In Oregon, we took a mini detour up the mountains towards Crater Lake. As we climbed in elevation, the trees turned from green to frosted, and finally we reached Crater Lake, which was breathtaking. It's the deepest lake in the United States, and it has a vibrant cobalt blue color. It was formed after a volcano collapsed more than 7,000 years ago. It was beautiful to watch the fog roll over the crater ridge. It's definitely a bit out of the way, but it was an amazing sight and well worth the trek. After Crater Lake, we continued north to our next stop, Bend, Oregon, which is home of Deschutes Brewery. You probably heard of Deschutes Fresh Squeeze IPA, and they make a bunch of other great IPAs. But while we were there, we also tried the Pilsner and the Märzen, which were both top notch. Of course, I had to get a couple fresh hop IPAs again. The cool part about fresh hop beers is they're often single hopped, which gives you a good sense of what that particular hop is like. Technically, this was just the tasting room, so there wasn't much to see beyond the pilot brewery, but the beer was solid, just as you would hope from Deschutes. While Fresh Squeeze IPA might bring nostalgia to some, nothing brought me back like our next stop in Bend, the last Blockbuster. Even though we had no way to watch movies on the road, we still had to walk the aisles, and it was giving us major flashbacks to childhood. It was like a time capsule, and I miss those days for sure. Bend was such an awesome place, we decided to crash there and enjoy a little extra time, sipping some brews by the fire and resting up. Some of the other breweries recommended to me in Bend are 10 Barrel, Ale Apothecary, and Bridge 99. Continuing north from Bend, we passed by Mount Hood, which for homebrewers should sound familiar. It's the name of a hop. In fact, in this area, there is a ton of places, landmarks, and history related to hop names. For one, the mountain range that Mount Hood is located on is called the Cascades. To the west is the Willamette Valley and River. Chinook is a Native American tribe from the Pacific Northwest area. Yakima Valley is up here to the north, and I'm sure there's many more references. It was just really cool to start to put one and one together, after only knowing the names from the package on your hops. Anyway, we passed through Portland, but don't worry, we came back through, and then continued on to Seattle, Washington, where we stopped at Optimism Brewing Company. We first took in some sights, the Space Needle, downtown, Pike Place, the first Starbucks, and then headed to the brewery. Optimism was definitely the trendiest on the list, with cool art installations and modern design. I did love seeing the tanks and barrels out in the open though. We got a Belgian triple, and you guessed it, another fresh hopped ale. Both really amazing. And these guys have only been around since 2015, but they're doing it right. A very cool spot to hang, especially with a group of friends on a Friday night. Other breweries in Seattle that were recommended were Cloudburst, Georgetown, and Stoop. The next day we ventured out into Olympic National Park, which was truly otherworldly. It has huge rainforests, waterfalls, beaches, and amazing hiking all in one. We took our time exploring and taking it all in. If you're ever in Seattle, this is a must visit for sure. The next day we started our descent back towards home, but we weren't done yet. First, a stop in Portland, Oregon at Culmination Brewing for a bite to eat and a drink. It was a quick stop, so we just got a boho pilsner and an IPA. The beers were solid, and the food was too. Just tucked away in a quiet part of Portland and a perfect pit stop. Portland has a lot of great breweries. Some that were recommended to me were Upright, Great Notion, and Ecliptic. Back on the road, we headed to Eugene, Oregon, another great beer city, and we stopped at Ninkasi Brewing Company. This is one I've heard of, and I love their aesthetic with the dinosaurs, but I hadn't tried before. And let me tell you, they did not disappoint. The decor was super stylish, and they even had a rock wall. And next to the entrance, you can peek into the Pilot Brewery. But best of all was the beer itself. We got a couple flights. Every single one was so good, from the Pilsners to the Northwest IPAs. My favorite was the Triceratops Double IPA, but the Transcendental was particularly interesting. It had notes of tarragon and lavender, which you would think might make it taste like soap, but they used the perfect touch, and the herbal notes really paired nicely in the beer. Definitely giving me some inspiration. After a night's rest, we were on the road again, south back towards California, stopping to see the black sand beaches and the NorCal coast. We then arrived at our final stop on this brew tour in Eureka, California, Redwood Curtain Brewing Company. Eureka has a cool vibe to it, with the ocean right there and the surrounding redwood forests, and this brewery fit right in. It was small, but also felt familiar. It had a great variety. I tried Humboldt Trails, an IPA, and their Imperial Golden Ale, or IGA. I also snagged a crowler of Kolsch to go. You can never go wrong with a crisp Kolsch. The Golden Ale was probably my favorite. It was clean and bready and really refreshing. A perfect way to end the brew tour. So with that, we hit the road one last time, making our way down south through the redwoods, and taking the fall colors in one last time. We were hit with a bit of rain, which made for a bittersweet moment, but that only lasted a short while as the skies cleared and a rainbow appeared in the distance. Now that's the way to end a road trip. Back home, and now looking back, I really had an amazing time. Some of these places, like Russian River and Sierra Nevada, have been places I've always wanted to visit. I mean, their founders and owners were once homebrewers like many of us, and it's cool to see how far they've come. And best of all, from this trip I got a lot of inspiration for some new brews. That's one of the best parts of going out and venturing to new breweries. You never know what you'll find or where you'll get that spark for your next great brew. I look forward to coming back to the Pacific Northwest to try even more breweries. I know this is a bit different from my usual videos, but if you found it enjoyable, hit the like button so I can know that you're interested in seeing more videos like this. And thanks to all you that submitted some recommendations for me. But if there's a brewery I missed, be sure to let me know so that next time I can check it out when I'm in the area. Feel free to follow me on Instagram if you want to keep up with all my latest adventures. Thanks for watching, and cheers!